This is probably my last video on the hidden burning scenario in Anno 1800. I've showed you all of the ruins, all of the rewards that you can find across your island, in the sea, in the city. I've showed the bugs. Based on all of this, today I want to show you the top 10 tips to really master this scenario. This is my ultimate guide. I'm StratGamer. Thank you for tuning in. Let's dive in. If you want to see more Anno 1800 or other strategy game content, don't hesitate to press the red button below to subscribe. Before we go into the 10 tips, let me remind you what is the difference between restart and reset. You can get the gold medal even after a reset. This is on my channel if you want to check it. But if you click on this reset button here, all of the ruins inside the dam will be restored and all of your items will be lost, meaning you will basically start without any legendary items. If you don't click on reset and just restart, in a sense, begin a new scenario after having finished it once, twice, or many times, you will always get those items that you have crafted before that are legendary. It's obviously easier to do that. Tip number 1, you must use this half speed here. The time limit of 2 hours and 30 minutes for the gold medal is based on game time, not real time. So if you slow that down, this will slow down this counter too. Especially at the beginning, it's really critical to do that so that you're able to really do a lot of things in not a lot of time. Tip number 2, there are a lot of hidden rewards across the map. Some are very easy to find right away on your island, like this one. There are videos on my channel if you want to see more details about this. There is also 5 crates hidden in this city. All of these rewards that you can find right away on your island will really help you to kickstart your city by giving you things like more timber, some bricks, also some items. And lastly, there is also a lot of islands all across the map with quests and giveaways. Like this castaway here, in exchange for 5 tons of wood, will give you 25 tons of fish. All in all, tip number 2, remember there is a lot of resources to pick up across the map for free. Don't hesitate to check on my channel for more details for that. Tip number 3 is early on you need to focus on 2 things. One is extending your city as quickly as possible, as far as possible, so that you have workforce to do things, to clear ruins, to start producing. So really start creating your city as quickly as possible. That's number 1. The second thing that you need to do as quickly as possible to be able to actually extend that city is to cut wood. You need to cut wood as quickly as possible, like I'm doing here. Both, as I said, to extend your city as quickly as possible, but actually also because you want to clear all of those trees that are here so that you can extend your city. Because if I just put houses here, now all of those trees that were here have disappeared and I didn't gain them. They just disappeared. They're gone forever. So you want to cut them first and then build your city on it. Tip number 4, let's talk about your overall layout. What I suggest is this. You have your city focused here. You have access to it right away, so it's easy to extend it as quickly as you can. You can put a town hall here with coverage of as many houses as you can. If you put it here, for example, you'll definitely have a lot less houses. Then you're going to need 3 different trade unions. 1, 2, and 3. This is a trade union for your heavy industry. This is a trade union for your non-polluting buildings, and this is a trade union for your farms. And last element to consider about your overall layout is where to put the foresters. You need to put foresters like this one on places where there's not a lot of trees to begin with. Why? Because if I put a forester, for example, here, it may plant 1 or 2 more trees. Versus if I put a forester here, where there was none before, for example here, or maybe there, here, it will put 50, 60 more new trees, which will give you obviously a big boost to your air quality. The only reason to put a forester where there's already a forest is if you want to permanently cut those trees. For example, what I have here, meaning I have this forester here, which is always going to plant trees in that area. Then I have the lumberjack hut, who is going to always cut all of these trees here, which will be again replanted by the foresters. And then of course, these this wood cut from this lumberjack hut will be transformed into sawmill. Remember, you will need a lot of timber. Tip number 5. Forget what you know about workforce. In the normal game, there's no downside to having a lot of workforce. It's usually actually suggested because you get more money. In this scenario, you should only have very small positive workforce. This is bad, for example. Having plus 400 jornaleros, plus 200 obreros, this is bad. All of your workforce, your positive workforce, should be used, 1, to clear ruins. We've already almost done it here, so that is at least something good. Clear the ruins first. 2, you need to use it for your legendary items. Things like your forester's hut, your water purifier, or your aqua farms will need quite a bit of workforce. Number 3, if you still have positive workforce, you should probably be using it for non-polluting industries like your work clothes or your felt producer. If you don't know why, don't hesitate to check on my channel video called Felt Producers Are Your Savers. If you've done all of this and you still have positive workforce, it means you just have too many houses. And that's bad, because too many houses meant that you cut too many trees to get the lumber needed, that you have too many production buildings, and once again you had to cut trees to make that happen. It is probably also having an impact on your eco quality. For example, you have too many animal farms and therefore your water quality is bad. So next time, don't build as much. As you can see in this save, probably also from your own experience, air eco quality is really the challenging one. You don't get permanent bonuses like the removed oil spilled or the turtle clean waters. On top of that, usually you get very quickly a negative bonus from your forestation because we do need to cut a lot of trees. And lastly, you have all of your heavy industries which you need, things like brick factories, the furnace, tool factories, which will put a lot of strain on your air quality. Don't worry though, I have a solution for you. And this is what I call a min-maxer solution because it's based on items with 3 steps. The first step is there are several items to actually limit the impact of your heavy industries. First one, legendary, is this one, eco quality impact minus 50%. For example, my concrete factory here, instead of giving me a minus 16 impact on my air quality, will only give me a minus 8. That's obviously huge. You have other items that are cheaper that you can get earlier. For example, this one's only 5 tools to get minus 20. Or this one, 10 tools and 10 coffee for minus 30. Step 2 is you want to make sure that all of your non-polluting buildings are in the radius of another trade union with this flowering urban tree, which gives eco-balance impact of plus 3 for each of those buildings as long as they are working at 100% productivity. And what's great about this item is you don't need to pay for it. You can find it for free somewhere on your island. If you don't know about this, again, don't hesitate to check on my channel for a specific video for it. Now stage 3 is the real min-maxing here. It's finding the perfect production which will give you the best return on that plus 3. As you can see here, it's failed producers. In this save, I have 8 failed producers giving me plus 24. And look, I am only at plus 8. If I didn't have that plus 24, I would be in a terrible situation. Do I need those 8 for my people? No, I actually only need 1. So why am I using failed producer? Because failed producer is only 5 wood, 2 bricks, 10 jornaleros, and while many other productions need 2 input, for example, tortillas need cattle and corn, felt only needs alpaca farm. And again, alpaca farm is only 4 timber and 10 jornaleros. So really low workforce and really low cost in terms of timber and even money. The only negative effect here is the water quality impact of the alpaca farm, but you can also have items on your alpaca farm, plus you can use water purifiers to really have a good water quality. Number 7, I said that air was hardest. We didn't really talk about soil. You can see here that on soil I have plus 100. Comes mainly here from the aqua farm, but even without this I would still be very positive thanks to the polyculture. And to do that, that's quite easy. It basically means that you're going to put groups of 2 or 3 farms spread across your island. You know, you can put 2 here, a few here, a few here, a few there, and you have a lot of other space. Just use space where the trees have already been cut. Tip number 8, let's talk about your overall building order. Earlier I said you need to really focus early on building your population, your city, by cutting also a lot of trees. After that, you want to get to obreros as quickly as possible. If possible, you want to get to 500 obreros so that you unlock the atoll, the latest part of their needs. But at the minimum, I suggest that you go to 250 to get the fedora so that you have access to fel producers to make sure that you can keep your hair balance in check. After getting to obreros, this is when you want to really start the first stage of the dam. To do that, you'll need a lot of bricks and a lot of tools. An important tip here is I suggest that you don't give tools to your jornaleros or even to your obreros unless you're trying to upgrade your jornaleros to obreros. Then you have to give it to them, of course, to get to the total population and upgrade. But otherwise, don't give it to them because you're going to need 120 for the first stage of the dam and 60 for the second stage of the dam. That's a lot of tools early in the game. By the time you're actually starting the first stage of the dam, you should also already be producing the goods for stage 2 and 3 of the dam because these will take quite a long time. In particular, your steel production with the furnace should be going. After that, your electric cable factory and your concrete factory. In particular, make sure you don't start the third stage of the dam before you've created all of the reinforced concrete factories that you want. Depending on your items, that may be 1 or 2. Why? Because you need electric cables to build that concrete factory. As you can see here, 25. So if you start the dam level 3, then the dam will request all of the electric cables that you have, and you're gonna have a difficulty reaching 25 and making that concrete factory. Tip number 9, let's talk about fish. The first time I played, I thought fisheries were a bad idea because fishes are quite limited. This one, for example, is completely empty, which means I'm not getting any water quality bonus anymore compared to previous ones like these ones. But I found that fish is such a critical resource early in the game that it is actually a good deal to have as many fisheries as you can all across your island, because even if you use all those fishes, you will still later on have aqua farms available, plus you will have the water purifiers with a plus 30 impact on your water quality, which is more than enough to compensate for the loss that you will have on your fisheries. Tip number 10 is also a big one, but don't leave because I also have 2 bonus ones at the end. Tip number 10 is around the accidents and also your use of pause versus delete. Let's start with this pause versus delete. You cannot move anything, you cannot relocate in this scenario, but you can definitely pause or destroy. When should you use which? Well, first element is let's look at what happens when you pause. If you pause any building, they won't have any more quality impact, be it negative or positive. Right? So your sawmill that usually has a negative impact will not have a negative impact anymore, it will be to 0. But similarly, if I stop my atoll maker, which right now gives me a plus 3 impact, it won't give it to me anymore. So you do need to be careful about that when you pause it. Then you will also not need any workforce. That's the main reason why you may want to pause things. At the same time, do note that the maintenance upkeep does stay there. Those maintenance upkeep are usually quite small. So honestly, it's not a key reason to destroy it. For me, the key reason to destroy any building, it's more if it's in the way. For example, at the beginning of the game, you will probably put a lot of lumberjack huts and sawmill in this area. But later on, you want to transform it into a city. So just definitely destroy them. Otherwise, I do suggest that you use this pause option as much as possible to, for example, limit the impact of your industries, also limit the workforce that you may need. But at the same time, you never know when you may need that again. Don't delete them because of course it will cost you resources, precious resources to rebuild it. And linked to that point around avoiding to rebuild things because of the resources that they could cost you, you do want to have a fairly good fire coverage, especially of your heavy industry, of your costly industries. The concrete factory costs 15,000, 20 timber, 30 bricks, 24 steels and 25 electric cable. You need to rebuild one because there was a fire, an explosion, this is terrible. Versus your fire station actually costs only 4 timber. So you definitely want to have some here. You may also have a bit of coverage on your town, but it is less important. What you want for your town in terms of your population is a bit more of a hospital coverage. At the same time, the hospital is a lot more costly. 12 timber, 20 bricks. So you probably only want 1, max 2, and try to optimize that coverage as much as you can. So try to think about the layout first. You know, this was only my first attempt at gold. You can see the layout is not great. Town hall is not covering everything. Remember before I told you to put the town hall here. And similarly for the hospital, a hospital would have been a lot smarter around here so that it can cover also that part. And then lastly, as I said, 2 bonuses. If you're still lost after those 10 tips, I suggest you just look at the playlist that will appear now at the top. It will show you from start to finish how to get the gold medal. And last one, if you're a beauty builder and you just want the reward to add it to your city, then you go into building sorting by type. You go into the culture tab and you see the tree painter here. With this tree painter, this is basically a bug or something unintended by the developers. You're just going to spend a bit of money, but with this money, you're going to plant a lot of trees. And what it means is that by planting those trees, your forestation will go from a negative. Before planting a few of those trees, I was probably at negative -15 or something. I'm already at -10. You can plant a lot more if you want. You know, I'm sure here we can plant quite a few here, quite a few there, over there. So yes, it is costing money, but look, I have money. That's not a problem. So yeah, that should be enough. I am now at +41. So we started probably around -15. Now I'm at +41. You can see that the eco balance here is not a problem anymore. And even more than that is, if I do this, I don't need to rebuild all the time lumberjack huts and timber production. I can just have a few lumberjack huts, let's say over here, and just as soon as they're cut, I just replant and replant and replant. So I don't need to build them anymore. With this tip, honestly, it is super easy to get the gold medal. I really hope that this ultimate guide enables you to get the gold medal, to enjoy this scenario. If you like this video, don't hesitate to press the like button so that the YouTube algorithm knows to share this with other Anno fans. Don't hesitate to also share in the comments if you have already got the gold medal, if you're still trying to, if you have questions, if you have other tips to share with everybody else. I'd love to hear about it, and I hope to see you next time.